Hi, my name is Jared, and this is Horror Obsession. Today, I want to talk about House of the Dead 2003, directed by Uwe Boll. Some quick backstory on Uwe Boll. He is a German restaurant owner slash movie director who became famous for adapting well-known, popular video games into legitimately some of the worst movies ever created. I know, a lot of people, and especially people who do online reviews, often claim legitimately fine movies are the worst movie of all time. But this time, I am not using hyperbole. Uwe Boll's movies are so terrible, it creates an almost transcendental experience in the viewer, which causes you to question the entire foundation of what you're experiencing. Are these movies some kind of a joke? Are they serious attempts at a quality dramatic adaptation of video games? Is this some kind of tax write-off scheme like the producers? I honestly think it has to be some kind of embezzlement scheme or tax evasion thing, because frankly, there is no other explanation for his career. I almost feel bad making fun of this movie. It's difficult to begin to analyze a movie with so many flaws in much the same way you wouldn't have an art critic critique your 4-year-old's finger painting. It's just mean. That being said, Uwe Boll has gotten his revenge on critics in the past, since in 2006 he famously challenged his critics to a boxing match.
So I've wrote like, okay, if you come up here and you fight me, then I will kick the shit out of you.
Richard Kayanka of SomethingAwful.com, Jeff Schneider of Ain't It Cool News, Chris Alexander of Rui Morgue Radio and Magazine, and Nelson Chance Mittner, who was 17 at the time and just blogged about movies, all fought Uwe Boll in a boxing match and all suffered first-round knockouts.
And basically my message is, fuck yourself.
Uwe, if you're listening to this, I want you to know, I'm not sorry. Your movies fucking suck. No, I will not box you, and I am not gonna hold back. Also, you look like if Dominic Moynihan lived on nothing but vodka, schnitzel, and meth for 40 years. Alright, so let's go through a quick recap of the alleged plot of House of the Dead, so for those of you who have the pleasure of never suffering through this hellish nightmare, you can be on the same page. The movie starts off the worst way possible, with some guy who survived the movie reminiscing about how terrible the events of the movie were, going so far as not only spoiling that he lives, but also that all of his friends die. I would say spoilers, but Uwe obviously doesn't give a shit about spoiling the plot to his own movie in the literal opening scene, so whatever.
It's fucking genius.
We get a couple shots of a rave, which looks fine, I guess, except Uwe didn't get enough extras, so the rave is so poorly attended it looks like a Carly Rae Jepsen concert. Next, this group of like 5 or 6 young attractive people whose names could not possibly matter are trying to get to an island where the rave is. They hire a ship captain to take them to
what they call this island? Isla del Morte.
Morte. That's Spanish for death.
Which is either a heinously unoriginal name Uwe came up with himself, or is ripped off from Isla Muerta, an island in Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park sequel, The Lost World. Either way, the name is stupid, and I hope he feels bad. Next, they take the boat to the island, but when they show up to the rave, oh my god, what a mysterious and compelling turn of events, everyone at the rave is missing. The group splits up, and 2 of them start hooking up before the guy goes to the woods to pee. Clint Howard tragically gets killed, and the group goes back to the rave before immediately running from zombies to a house and meeting up with the guy from the voiceover in the intro. Jürgen Prochnow defends his boat from zombies, and what is probably the best scene of the entire movie. Jürgen is a veteran actor with 139 acting credits, and I will begrudgingly admit this scene is shot semi-competently, even though they reuse one of the clips twice. The group runs into some boat cop lady, then they go to Jürgen's boat to try and escape the island. Zombies swim at them, and they shoot at them in a scene which drags on for all eternity.
fucking genius.
Then the group opens a crate full of weapons Jurgen was smuggling, and they go back to the house from earlier because, like, House of the Dead or something. There is a big action scene where everyone fights the zombies with alternating, egregious slow-mo and seizure-inducing rapid-fire editing. Most of the cast dies, the rest goes into the house, they discover some stupid truth about the zombies, everyone else dies except the shoehorned love story characters. They have another horrible slow-mo action sequence comprised of them sword fighting, in which the lead lady gets stabbed in the chest but is totally fine with no explanation.
It's fucking genius.
And then a helicopter lands on the island and they both get rescued. The end. It probably feels like I left a lot out for comedic effect to make the movie sound more superficial and shallow than it actually is, but I had just rewatched the movie in its entirety before making this, and I had to go back and click through the movie to find plot points to fatten the story up a bit, because everything about this movie is entirely forgettable. House of the Dead takes the concept of so bad it's good and turns it up to 11. The best so bad it's good movies take themselves seriously and are trying to be dramatic, which when contrasted to how laughably stupid and mind-numbingly poorly crafted they are, creates a perfect storm, resulting in something that's actually pretty entertaining in the same way Charles Barkley's golf swing is entertaining. It's hard to describe how bad this movie is without showing you, so let's just break it down and go through the reasons one by one. Number 1. Shitty anchoring technique. Uwe uses his main protagonist,
I'm the protagonist,
in a voiceover to spoil the ending of the movie, removing one of the most fun parts of these B-horror movies, guessing who dies and who survives. There is absolutely no payoff for this, and it doesn't even make sense in continuity since the movie ends without the character getting back to this moment. This legit feels like an intentional sabotage of the movie on repeat viewings. It's bizarre. Number 2, the dialogue. I typed and then deleted several descriptions of the dialogue, and it really just cannot be described. It must be experienced. So without further ado, here are some of the lines from the movie in rapid succession.
Cynthia, Greg's girlfriend, pure eye candy.
You know what they call this island? Isla del Muerte.
Muerte. That's Spanish for death. In case you don't speak Mexican. I want to give this to you.
What's this for?
It's for your protection.
It's okay, I'm on the pill.
Seems like a storm's coming up.
Maybe so.
Yeah, you know what? I remember when she used to be fun.
When was that? Kindergarten? I think something bad's happened here.
Ooh, like what? I was starting to get diabetes from all this sugar over here.
What about you, Studley Doodle?
Everyone was partying, you know, drinking and dancing and just hanging out, having fun. Who? Try what?
What? Rudy, they were dead people.
This is all just one big practical joke.
Yeah? Well, if you've been here, which you weren't, but if you were, you wouldn't think it was a joke. Believe me.
What the hell was that thing? Our best friend.
Well, that cuts it. I'm either gonna get better or I ain't.
It's fucking genius.
Nothing but old wives' tale.
Like The Walking Dead?
Okay, I want to talk about this shot as well. The lead actress has a hugely dilated pupil here, and before you go blaming it on the lighting, the shot is clearly lit from this angle, which should cause her pupils to be relatively small. She is on drugs in this shot, which honestly explains a lot. Uwe making this movie as an excuse to go do drugs with hot women on an island is at least a motivation I can understand. Number 3. Obvious ripoffs of far superior films. There are several examples, but easily the most obvious and therefore the most annoying is when Uwe steals the iconic opening from Jaws. A girl takes her clothes off and goes swimming. and her drunk boyfriend stays on shore and passes out. There is a camera angle from underneath the water looking up at the girl, implying something is attacking her from the water. Yui does subvert this a little bit by having the boyfriend be the one who goes missing, but still. This is one of your first clues Yui is trying to make an actual real movie. Number 4. Combination of voiceover and establishing shots. This isn't as distracting for most people, I assume, but it really annoys me. Yui combines shots of scenery and objects like boats while playing the voice of his characters talking, rather than showing the character themselves talking.
I know where they're docking. Drop me off on the other side of the island.
You want me to radio for backup?
Nah. I think I can handle Victor myself.
I assume this is because Yui forgot to shoot the dialogue scene and then added the audio over different shots he remembered to get in between fifths of Pushkin. Number 5. Random clips of the video game in the movie for no reason. The name says it all here. Yui includes random clips from the House of the Dead video game for absolutely no reason. It adds nothing to the scene that is occurring. It is not edited in a way that produces a jump scare. It does not add to the atmosphere. It does, however, cause your brain to start slowly drifting away into a deep, dark abyss of existential anguish about what horrible life decisions could have led you to this moment. Partly to prove my point, and partly because I want you to suffer the same way I have, here is a completely unedited clip demonstrating this. Number 6. Lazy scene transitions. Yui uses scene transitions that are basically taken from a PowerPoint slide presentation. Here is one example where he just has the scene fly out to the left of the screen. There are more like this, way more, but as I scrolled through the movie to find more, I started muttering to myself, why the fuck am I doing this? And I decided to listen to me and stop in an attempt to salvage my sanity. Okay, but here's one more. Number 7. Cutting away without showing the kill. This may be the biggest mistake the movie makes, which is actually impressive in the same way saying, this is the biggest mistake in Detroit Lions franchise history would be impressive. The competition is fierce. The reason this is the biggest mistake is you can salvage an otherwise completely unwatchable horror movie with some solid gore and cool kills, something movies like Hatchet and The Terrifier demonstrate perfectly. I am here for the campy B-movie gore, goddammit. Why would you take this away from me, Yui? Number 8. Casual racism. During the voiceover, freeze frame introduction scene, our lead protagonist,
I'm the protagonist,
the only black character in the entire movie as Foxy Brown. At least he didn't call her Foxy Black, I guess. Then later our lead lady says the one Asian person in the entire movie is not a, quote, natural red, white, and blue, end quote.
You came with that girl? Let me just give you a tip. I don't think she's a natural red, white, and blue.
I assume is supposed to imply she's a foreigner. Someone should tell Yui that in America we actually have Asian people who are born in America. Also, even if she was a foreigner, so what? Ugh, whatever, let's just move on. Number 9. Obsession with stupid slow motion. I talked about this a little bit before, but it bears mentioning again. The cynic in me would say Yui used the constant, unwarranted, unoriginal, and nauseating slow motion shots to extend the runtime of his movie to reach 90 minutes, especially considering the movie clocks in at a solid 90 minutes 15 seconds, including end credits. But I have actually changed my mind on this. Some of the early slow motion shots, maybe, but in his big action scene, he also doubles down on the stupidity by having the camera spin around the characters, which was probably fairly costly to shoot, and there are far easier ways to pad the length of your movie. I think he really has the aesthetic taste of a 13-year-old boy and thought, these shots look badass and cool, which is just so childish and cringy, it makes Michael Bay look like Alfred Hitchcock. Number 10. Random cuts to zombie faces behind tree branches. I am kind of embarrassed to even type this one out as its own section, but Yui spent $13 million on this movie, so I guess I shouldn't be the one who's embarrassed. So he apparently got his cinematographer together, got makeup to do a zombie face for these actors, set up lights, and shot these people's faces behind branches, then randomly spliced them into the film in editing, ostensibly to create a sense of dread or tension.
It's fucking genius.
Needless to say, it doesn't work, and actually backfires and creates the opposite effect, a running theme throughout the movie. Number 11, the shitty techno music. This is kind of a tie-in to number 8, where it's so bad and campy you kind of wonder if someone's pranking you, but in combination with everything else, I think it's clear Yui legitimately thought this was cool music, which would elevate his action scene and make it super cool and badass. Decide for yourself. Number 12. The characters have no motivations, goals, or desires. This can be okay in a horror movie since for the most part the characters just want to get out alive, but you have to give your characters something to do in the meantime. Yui actually does okay with this to start since they are trying to get Jurgen's boat to get off the island, but after that fails they go back to the House of the Dead because, I don't know, Yui thought he needed them to spend more time in the titular House of the Dead? Because he had some cool set design he wanted to use? The point is, there is no point. Nothing matters and existence is meaningless. Number 13. Spinning sword fight. I glossed over this earlier, but sadly your respite is over and the time of reckoning is finally here. This is quite possibly the worst directed, acted, choreographed, and edited fight scene in the history of cinema. If you have worse fight scenes, link them to me because the masochist in me wants to know. I'm going to show you a clip, but I am warning you, you will never be the same after this moment. Okay, I'm gonna end at 13, but I could keep going. From stuff like the lady cop shooting her partner in what presumably is supposed to be an emotional moment, but we have literally never seen the partner on screen before. She says his name like we should be shocked and gasp that he's a zombie now, but like, I have no idea who this guy is. At all. Other moments include the absurdly fast editing right after the Asian chick dies, shown here, and I promise you this is the exact speed it appears in the movie. I did not change the speed of this at all, I swear. There is also the unnecessary, cringy, sad, and pathetic sex jokes, the misogynistic visual exploitation of the female cast, the shoehorned, totally unconvincing love story. There is this bizarre line when the protagonist,
I'm the protagonist,
says Alicia to get her attention, then when she turns to figure out what he wants, he just says sorry.
Alicia! Sorry.
So you called her name to get her attention so you could apologize for calling her name to get her attention?
Alicia! Alicia!
Overall, House of the Dead is the most indescribably bad movie I have ever seen, certainly accounting for budget. Normally, I discuss theme and analyze the meaning behind a movie, but in this case I think that would be an exercise in futility. Not with this movie. A movie that lost $7 million but feels like it took 7 years off your life. A movie which will befuddle you, causing you to swing between morbid curiosity and visceral disgust. A movie which makes you question the point of movies to begin with. A movie which will make you question the very nature of your life. A movie so bad it becomes good, but then when you start enjoying it, it becomes bad again, which creates a spiraling black hole that puts your sanity past the event horizon and creates a singularity of badness so bad that, well...
It's fucking genius.